when I was talking to Josh about putting this together, you know, because Josh does a lot of, you know, research and he has a lot of data, and I like to share him with other people, and he says, instead of just do it one-on-one, right? Let's do kind of like a panel discussion. So he said, one of the first persons we thought about was Jordy. Jordy should be on that panel. So I called him and he said yes. Then we got down our whole list and everybody else said no. So we called Jake. And the only reason I picked on Jake, because if I would have used one of them as the butt of that joke, they'd both be wondering if I was serious.
You're getting funny in your old age. This is good. I like it.
I just saw that. Really, it's not even in my notes.
You got him, Jim.
No, you guys are awesome. Serious, these guys, I feel smarter just being in the room with them. So how many know all three panels? See how awesome this is? I love connecting people. In fact, I was just talking to Ashley back there. We're talking about the book, The Go-Giver. My second daughter, this is Ashley over there that I'm speaking about. That's my oldest daughter. My second daughter, Tiffany, read The Go-Giver for the first time. She's like, holy shit, Dad, you're the connector. Who's read that book? So a couple of you know what I'm talking about. I'm The Go-Giver.
No, but I know that I know that framework around
Mhm. I do love it. You know, when I'm listening, when I'm meeting people and I'm listening to what they do, I just think of who I know that could have mutual beneficial interest, right? So anyway, thanks for putting up with my joke. You know, I thought it was pretty funny. Here's the agenda for today. It's gonna be kind of casual, okay? We're gonna do introductions. We got Sean here. He's gonna go first, and then I've got Corey in the back. Corey's gonna bring us lunch, which is awesome, so we can sit around afterwards and network a little bit. Thanks. I'm gonna introduce these guys a little bit a different way, so I hope it works. In my head, it works so good. But we'll see how it goes. You'll see what I'm talking about. So let's see. Then let's start with Sean. Sean, come on up here. Sean is the one that owns this building. Graciously offered us this space. I wish you guys in Zoom were here. It's a great networking spot. I was here at another event, and Sean's got several businesses he's affiliated with here, and he's like, I love, just like we were talking about the next, right? I love to meet people, so do your events here. I'm like, okay, don't ask me twice, let's move on. And so Sean, actually, let me see if I got a slide for you, my friends.
Yeah, let's do.
Okay, so you want the second one?
Yeah,
Just that one.
yeah, appreciate it.
Okay, you got it. So introduce yourself.
Awesome. Great to connect with you. That's also one of my favorite books.
Yes.
So I'm John. We bought this building, talk about real estate, so we bought this building 15 years ago. So that's where we've been here. And we put usability. So if you're from this area, there was a massive usability sign up here. So we were a tenant. They were our tenants for a good day. And we were super excited to do a signing party for another piece. At a long lease. And this was like on Wednesday, and the week before on Friday, COVID was announced like nationwide. And thousands of commercial contracts were canceled like overnight, and including the boostability contract was canceled overnight. So that's a space. So we just had all this weird space in here. And then we said, hey, what are we gonna do with it? We tried to lease it out. We couldn't lease it out. It was like too much space. So we ended up putting an Avon here, exploding everything, literally down to the shell of this place. So we started over a few years ago, and completely from this carpet to the ceiling, a complete revamp and rebuild. Two guarantees in construction. Number one, it takes longer. Number two, it costs more, right? That was one of these projects. We also purchased the theater of Trafalgar. When I was a kid, I'd come down to Trafalgar. I'd make $1.50, last me like 8 hours, you know, best thing ever. So we purchased Trafalgar over here and we tore that down. So we weren't very popular. Tore down this, yeah, we got a lot of hate. But we tore down that Trafalgar, and so that lot's also ours. So we're commercial real estate people, and we're doing 5 projects in the state. So one of our biggest developments, 1,500 doors in Salem, Utah. So curb and gutter, did a deal with Lennar and with other big
construction companies to take down phases of it. So that's primarily what we do. But here in this building, we have a company called Tax Hive. We started it with Kevin O'Leary. I'm an investor in that business. We started it 4.5 years ago with Kevin O'Leary as one of the founders of the company. So Kevin's an actual, not just an endorser, but he's also one of the owners in the business. So I'm going to go for 2 minutes. I'm going to tell you 3 things that we see. We essentially create 1,000 leads a week, and we onboard 75 to 80 new clients a week that are business owners. So we're seeing clients on the hourly basis, and we come across 3 main problems that we see in clients. Number one, we see clients who put, as you're all real estate people, you would not believe how many people put all of their stuff in their own name. Their business structures are bad. So a lot of people set up LLCs, but you can also do an S Corp election, which will save you a truckload of cost in tax, tons of money. But we also see people who have like 5 apartment complexes all in their own name. It's nuts to me. Crazy. So that is number one we see is the biggest problem is business structure. So we have a law firm here that we work with that will help you on your structure. That alone can save you a ton of money that you should be putting back in business, not like committees and jobs, right? So that's number one. Number two is when you're a W-2 person, you can take up to 10 deductions. That's it. When you become a business owner, you can take up to 1,400 deductions. So no, when you go make that leap, that scary leap from W-2 actually being a business owner, no one sits you down and says, hey, good news. You have this wealth of a treasure chest sitting here that you should take advantage of the tax code. But the whole code was written for the business owner. Why is that? Why was the code written for the business owner? What would you say? Yes. What's the fabric of America? What is GDP? Business owners, small business owners, 70% of the US in business is small business owners. They want businesses to actually succeed. So 1,400 versus 10. What we see is most people still take less than 10. I'll give you one example of one deduction some of you probably heard of or not. How many golfers do we have? Golfers? You should golf. You're a promontory. Mountain bike guy. I'm with you on that.
Jeff, you're pretty much a golfer.
Are you a golfer? Pretty much?
I need to be a golfer.
How does that sound? Pretty much a golfer.
Is that top golf?
Is that top golf?
There you go.
I'm much more of a biker now, but for a percentage of my time at one point in my life, all I thought about was golf. You ever defocus on things like that? You wake up in the morning, it's like, how do I hit this ball better? And one of the most pristine, best courses on the planet Earth is Augusta National. So I happen to be in Augusta, and I'm driving down, and there's Augusta National. And I did what I shouldn't probably do, is I snuck out on the course. I pulled over, and I went through the fence, and I went out on the course. And it was a spiritual experience. I mean, rays of sunshine were hitting me. It was like beautiful. And I was looking around. I mean, if you look at that grass, it is the most pristine, velvety grass. They don't let anyone touch it a month before the tournament. So there's not one divot. You can't see a divot. Anyways, very spiritual. So I'm sitting there, and as you look around Augusta National, you see that there's absolutely 0 hotels. They don't want anything shiny. They want no glass stuff. They don't want any Marriotts. There's no hotels. Well, for 2 weeks a year in the tournament, 250,000 people come into the tournament, descend on Augusta National, 250,000 people. So these people, what do you think the Augusta people do that live there? They bounce. They don't want to have anything to do with 250,000 people taking over their city. So they go on vacation for 2 weeks a year, and they rent out their houses. You talk about the most insane rents you've ever seen in your life. On the low end, for their house, $5 grand. On the high end, 25 grand a night. If you want to rent a house in Augusta, right? So imagine if you bring in 150 Gs of revenue and you're having to spend 50 Gs towards paying taxes, those Georgians were pissed off. They're like, we don't want this. So they hire a lobbyist to go in front of Congress and say, hey, give us 2 weeks where we don't have to pay any taxes. And guess what? The law was passed. It's called the Augusta Rule. And here's what's crazy. Now it's federal nationwide law. So all of you as business owners can actually take advantage of the 2 weeks. How nutty is that? So it has to be a business purpose, but if you hold board meetings, if you have a team of people, do your meeting in your house and have your business rent out your house. You can do that for 14 days a year. And you pocket all that money and you don't actually have to pay any taxes on that.
So I can have my team over for 2 Tony Robbins.
Yes, exactly right.
Well, it's a write-off for your business.
Yes.
And then on your personal taxes.
Yes.
How many people are taking it? Well,
Yeah.
Jordy's about to.
That's it. I got him in. I got him.
I asked about that. I've
Yeah.
thought about this for years.
Yeah.
I've never taken one.
Yeah. It's because we
Got to talk to.
we put all this stuff out in the back of our mind and we don't think about it because we are doing the grind. We're selling houses. We're out there counting the pavement, which is what you should do. And that's why there's a great book called Who Not How. We ask ourselves, who not how? And Dan Sullivan is one of my top 5. But it's essentially as entrepreneurs, we ask ourselves the wrong question, which is how do we do this versus who can do this? Because it's not your unique ability to go do that. So that's one example of it. So deductions that you're missing, guaranteed we can find those. Number 3 is the simple ones. Your home deduction. People are taking them wrong. They're going on the conservative when you can take more. Your car deductions, the section 179 when you're buying a vehicle, all these things, we're seeing that most business owners are taking them wrong, and you could take a lot more, like as in 50% less than you should. So those are my top 3. So I have a quick bonus I'm going to give you. Just take out your phones and text me. We'll do it old school style. How's that? Text me your first and last name, and I'll send you a blueprint. It's free. Just goes back to your email. The blueprint's 17 questions, and we built this technology. You answer the questions, and it pumps it into your email, and it will show you areas right now that you're probably missing out on. So text me real quick, 801 318 5303 801 318 5303. Put your first and last name. If you need help right now, by the way, we have coaches here. You can talk to a coach. So if you need that, send me the word tax and I'll have a talk to them. But other than that, I will send you back a blueprint for free. And then you can take that and use that for your own information if you're doing your own taxes and be able to save money right now. Put that money back in your pocket where it belongs.
Just running said text name and blueprint.
That would be great. Just name's great and I'll know it came for you right now. Give me by tomorrow and I will text you back a blueprint. And the blueprint's awesome. And if you wouldn't mind, maybe at some point doing a Google review. We love to host entrepreneurs here. Google review takes like, maybe we just do that now? You mind? Okay. Takes about 60 seconds. Yeah, 801-318-5303.
And we got a bunch of people on Zoom, so Ashley can put that in the chat too.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
Thank you so much. And I'll send them a yes, have them send me a text. My phone's ringing off the hook, so I appreciate that. Google review takes 60 seconds. If you want to host an event, we generally don't charge business owners because we want you to buy golf grips that we have in here, and we want you to buy shoes, and we want you to buy tax hive, and so we love having entrepreneurs come through those doors. So we appreciate the reviews. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ron, you almost have 5 stars here. Just mention something about this weird guy named Sean.
Yeah,
The only
exactly.
reason.
Yeah, make sure you help me counteract that one. It's an absolute honor meeting all of you. I believe the greatest way to scale is scale relationships in business. So I commend you all for being here, snowing and everything. You're here, like success. Principle number 1 is you showed up. So
Thanks, Don. Appreciate you. Thanks for the space. So Sean talked a lot about tax hive and that business, everything, but this guy is the definition of serial entrepreneur. I remember getting on the phone with him the first time I met, just to kind of get acquainted. We were introduced by a mutual friend, and I got off the phone, I was like, shit, I am lazy. I thought I worked pretty hard, but damn, I mean, this guy's into a lot of businesses. I won't kind of tip his story unless he wants to. But we have another sponsor here that for us here local or in person has brought lunch. Corey, come on up front. I met Corey when he was in the home warranty business, but then I got connected with this new business and it's an incredible model. You guys here can talk to him about afterwards. We're gonna get you a slide here for him as well. I think I need to reactivate this. There we go. So QR code that. Corey will reach out to you. So tell us who you are and what you do, Corey.
Okay, my name's Jordy Barfuss. Real easy. Go to a bar, there's always a fuss, so that's why I don't do it. Anyways, as Jeff said, I was in the home warranty business. We've come into One Home Solution. Let me ask you, those who have had investment, those who have done real estate, how many times do you get called from somebody said, who do you know that can fix, repair, service, or maintain something?
Yes.
All the time, right? So now you're getting the people that you can kind of trust to refer out. But when they call, what happens? Usually you get a voicemail or some of the other things. There's a lot of options out there, but it's really hard sometimes to get them to respond in a timely manner to your clients. And that's important for your fear of influence, your referral, all the things along that line. So if I could take that away, would that be of interest? Okay. On that, let me ask you if I could get you handyman type services to the day, to the hour of what you want fixed with a guaranteed cap rate of $70 prorate for the actual time that you're in the house, would that be of interest? Part of that membership services, if I could give you 4 quarterly different separate visits where we actually provide all the material to change out your HVAC filter, fill your water softener, change all your smoke alarm batteries, drain and flush your hot water tank out of sediment, lubricate your garage door opener, blow out your dryer vent, clean your garbage disposal. Anybody ever done a clean out on the garbage disposal? Let me tell you, it's wild. Mine was only 2 years old and I did it and I said, there's no way there's that much stuff in there. Okay. Among other things, all in the 4 quarterly service part of being there. Also, housekeeping. $40 an hour for housekeeping, whether it be a one-time thing when you have a family party coming on and you or your spouse or somebody just got too much on your plate and you just want, like, I just need my bathroom and the kitchen cleaned out. $40 an hour to the day and time and hour that you want. Literally on the phone, on an app, as simple as going into an app, and I know I don't have a lot of time here real quick, but if I can see, right onto an app, gentlemen right here, you literally request a service like, how much would it cost to replace a TFI outlet? Go to an outlet, picking on that, I want to repair, literally come down here and go, I have Tuesday, I got all these times, pick the time, hit submit, that's when they show up and change that. We do multitask, so in other words, we all have a list of stuff at home that needs to be done, right? It's either too small to call the quote professional to justify that service call, or just outside of our skill set, or when we finally get a day off, that list is the last thing we want to do, right? Or our spouse is going, you know, it's been 6 months, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it taken care of because I've asked you for 6 months and you've never done it. Okay, anything inside and outside of the home handyman services, blowing out the sprinkler line, cleaning out the gutters, maintaining pools and spas, hot tubs, you have that. Just about anything you can think of handyman type services, we have the availability in being able to do that, okay? We service all of Utah, Salt Lake, Weaver, David, Park City, and Wasatch, Summit County, Maricopa, and Phoenix, Arizona. So if you got family down in Arizona or property down in Arizona, Phoenix area, we cover that. We're opening up Orange County. Now you ask, how much does this cost? Typically, if you went online and found us, it's $500 a year or $49 a month, which is right about $600. For real estate agents, I'm doing for $400. For today, if you'll go on the back, all my brochures are in the back. If you'll go down and download the app or go to our website, sign up, use the promo code of EXP/CB250. I'll give it to you for half off, $250 for the year.
Say that again, so you can put it in the chat.
EXP/CB, like Corey Barfuss, 250. Sign up today. It's gonna be just good for today. I will sell you this whole program for half the price to try out. I don't care if it's for you or if you got a client or your mom and dad that, you know, shouldn't be lifting those 40-pound bags and rock salt going down into the basement. And again, we provide all that salt. Anybody price what those are? Like $5 to $10 a bag. And I'm dumping 3 to 5 bags every quarter when I come out. Okay, we supply all that. All in that course. So I'll be here for lunch if you have any questions. Come and give me a card. Tell me what you're doing and I'll make sure that you get it for that $250 and tell you what that promo code, if you need to reach out, we'll get with Jeff and we'll make sure you get covered today.
One clarification question. So that monthly expense, that includes the filters?
Correct.
Thank you, Jim. That monthly investment.
So if you do the $49 a month, that includes, you know, if you want to do one quarterly service, but that gives you access to our in-house tech. So all of our tech work for us. So you don't have that third-party wait list, what I was trying to say. So that gives you access to our tech to come at the date and time that you want them to come out. So, but ideally, if you do it for the year, now you can do it monthly if you want. There is no long-term. We don't make you sign, you gotta sign up for a year or 2 years or whatever the case may be. If you only want to do it monthly to try it out, it's $49 a month. But
I'll take that.
okay.
Just leave
I'm gonna need that. I'm your first sale. Done.
Good deal, appreciate it, yes.
So if we say we purchase that as realtor. Clients benefit from that, would we can use that for our clients?
No,
or
it
just
is
for us?
per address. So the $400 for real estate are for per address. But if today you want to buy it for $250 and you want to put it on your house, you got a neighbor, you got a friend, you got a past client, you got one that's coming up, you can sign up today. Now, I will say you do not have to pay for it today. Just sign up today. No money is due today, but when we call to onboard you, the onboarding process takes about 30 minutes where we come to the house, count how many smoke detectors you have, where your water shutoff is. We make notes of all of your appliances to make, model, and serial number. So we have all that information on your file for when you call in. If you have any issue with that, we kind of know what we're looking at when we're coming to the home. Okay,
So it's per address.
per address. Yeah, it's not a service for one that you can farm out everywhere. Strictly tied to that address. If you have multiple doors as an investor, you can literally put all of those addresses in one login and actually farm out every one of those maintenances that you need per address. Okay?
Use the-
Talk to me afterwards. We'll get you covered on the answers.
What?
Thank you.
use the-
For multiple properties, as long as they sign up today.
Sorry, my friends that are on Zoom that are in other states. They're not there yet. Okay, thanks, Corey. That was a pretty good sponsor, huh? Us in real estate. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
It's killer. You gotta present to my team and I didn't even know he was gonna be here in like 2 weeks.
Is that right?
It's spreading like wildfire.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, it's super unique. So, Pitch 59 isn't necessarily a sponsor of ours, but, I want to try something unique and I hope it works. Pitch 59 is an app that is kind of like your digital card that you use when you're sharing contact information with people, has all your information on it, but it's geared around getting referrals. What's cool about it, and I'm going to show it to you by way of introducing these guys with their pitch cards. You get to introduce yourself. When somebody shares your pitch card, it's you introducing yourself. I'm going to show you how that works. So you guys on Zoom, I'm going to try and just turn this. So you can see, I apologize for the sound, the video quality, or all the other stuff that's gonna screw up, but this is what I got. Rockin', let's do it.
Good argument for showing up live these days.
That's right, baby. I love live. Screen share is gone. Okay, sorry, guys. Oh, look at that. Let's go here. Super cool. So let's start with pitch 59.
Hi, my name is Jeff, and this is a pitch.
You
card.
did it.
It lets you deliver your 59-second elevator pitch to tell people who you are, what you do, and what you need to do for value. It also makes it really simple for your customers, friends, and referral partners to introduce you to their contacts in less than 10 seconds. 82% of small business owners rely on referrals as their primary source of growth. Yet out of 100 happy customers, only 4 of them on average make referrals and introductions for the companies that they like. It's because the traditional way of making referrals is complicated, awkward, and just takes too long. With pitch cards, those that refer you don't have to figure out what to say, or how to say it, or what information to include. It's all done for them. You share your pitch card, they tap share, and choose what event that they would like to introduce you. Then they simply add the person's name, email, or phone number and tap send. It's that easy, and they don't even have to log in, sign up, or download it. We're on a mission to make it really easy for everyone to introduce you in less than 10 seconds. Welcome to Pitch with Metal.
Sorry, guys, I kept moving my phone and the thing was flipping all over.
Hi, my name is Jeff, and this is a pitch card. It lets you deliver your 59-second elevator pitches to tell people who you are, what you do, and what you need to do for stuff. It's awesome.
Right, so good, we should hear it twice. So you guys that can see the screen right there. This is how easy it is. If I want to share his pitch card, I can just pull up his QR code right there. So you guys that are here in person, you guys on your computer, scan that, and that will actually download Jeff's pitch card. He's the founder, CEO of Pitch 59, awesome dude. Connect with him and learn more about that awesome. So now let's move on. Actually, I'm going to show you mine first because theirs is better. And so I want to get mine out of the way. So this is what it can look like for you sharing your pitch card with somebody.
Hi, my name is Jeff Marchant, Marchant Real Estate Group at EXP. You know, a few things that people learn about pretty quickly is I already know where she is. 99% of my wardrobe is black. My wife is my business partner, and I have 3 amazing kids that have already blessed me with 5 interviews. You know, I'm also blessed to have found real estate at a young age. I was able to build a portfolio of 60 properties by the time I was 36 years old. And this has given me a lot of security and options in life. But I found that most people don't have a strategy for a secure, predictable retirement. So as a real estate investor and realtor, not only do I help protect people during their transactions when they buy and sell real estate, I also help individuals, including other real estate agents, secure a retirement through the accumulation of assets and passive income. If real estate is or should be part of your life, then let's connect. Click on the contact button on this pitch card and reach out.
Cool, so that's me. So let me.
My name is Jeff Marchant, the Marchant Real Estate Group.
It's on loop.
Let's watch it again.
So good, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it again. So when you get a pitch card from somebody, all you have to do, you can see on the screen there, you can hit save the contacts, then create new contact and done, and it's in your phone. I encourage you to maybe put a note. A lot of times when I save people's contact that I meet in an event like this in my phone, and I forgot their name, I can't even look them up on my phone. And so I put a note on, or I put it in the company name of who they are and where I met them, so that I can at least search for that event. And that's just a little hack that I use in order to remember the people that I meet. So I'm gonna move on to Josh's. I've known Josh for gosh, not long enough. Not long enough. Yeah, we should have been talking together. But I met Josh because I was in need of a better lender. And this is what, back in early 2000. Early 2000. Yeah. And I've watched him grow this amazing business and introduce the way he wants to be introduced to his clientele in a specific area of his life. But, you know, being an investor, being a hard money lender, just being all around awesome, right? There's only so many things you can say on a pitch card. Some people have multiple pitch cards. Right? You might have one for one business, one for another business, and it depends on who you're connecting with. That's what you would share. So watch this. When I introduce Josh to somebody, it's easy. And after I play his pitch card, I'm going to show you how I introduce somebody else when I already have their pitch card.
Mountains, dogs, single track trails, trout, kids, my incredible family. Those are some few things that I love to engage in. But when I'm not doing those things with my family and friends, you find me in the mortgage world where I take on the biggest misconceptions about the housing market's going to crash, or this housing market's going to be unaffordable forever, and I can take those apart, I disassemble them, and I take people from making decisions based off of conjecture, making decisions based off of facts. If you're interested in financing real estate or learning more about financing, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation.
Should have been on about.
Mountains.
Right.
So, man, amen.
You can whale at any time.
Yeah. Well, you can always redo your video.
That's right.
I'm redoing mine after watching your dances.
Laura, you're like 17 grandkids, so you're gonna need to.
I know, so my video said 5, but I got 2 more coming. They're all girls too, I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
So watch this, if I wanna share Josh. Well, first of all, here's his QR code, everybody scan that so you can connect with Josh. Give you a minute to do that. See how cool this card is? See all the phones? It's like I just say it.
Yeah.
Cool. You guys on Zoom get that? I see Eric still zooming in there. The one guy that doesn't need Josh's contact info. Say again? Okay, awesome. Ashley's got you taken care of on Zoom. So that's a really easy way, right? But look at that middle button where it says introduce via 3-way text. If I click on that, it's gonna pull up a text message that Josh wrote. How many of you find it clunky when you're introducing somebody and you don't know what to say? It's like, Josh, yeah, I met him here. This is what he does. And it's just, it's sometimes it takes long enough. You just don't do it, right? But when I share Josh's contact and I want to introduce him 3-way text, all I have to do is click up there and notice his number's already in there. I just got to add the person I'm introducing them to. And then of course, put their name in the text to Josh and say, for instance, Terry, hey, Terry, and then send off Josh's text message. Here's the cool thing about that. The way I used to introduce, like I've got your about me page from your website saved in a folder on my browser. I was like, oh, you got to connect with Josh. So I would pick up with that browser, copy, paste into a text, connect with Josh. What happens though? I don't follow up. I don't know if they went to the website, connected enough to even call him and connect with him. But when I do a 3-way text, he's connected. Josh knows I'm not just like willy-nilly messing around and just sending random numbers. This is somebody I want him to meet. And so they connect by 3-way text. Pretty cool. So let's move on. Since we're in seating order here, let's do Jordy's next.
Hey, my name is Jordy Clark. I started in real estate about 10 years ago, 2014. I've done a bunch of different real estate. I fix flip homes, buy distressed apartment deals, fix them up and rent them out, provide quality housing for tenants. I also have a very high producing real estate sales team that helps people buy, sell, and transact in real estate. And we also help people invest in real estate. I'm very passionate about helping other people build wealth through real estate. So really, when you kind of take a look at all of our umbrella, it's all centered around helping other individuals achieve financial freedom in whatever that means to them through real estate. So with that being said, we've done over 750 transactions, helped a lot of people do whatever they need in real estate. So we can help you out along the greater Los Angeles.
It limits you to 59 seconds. Whether you got more to say or not, that's all you're getting. But that was awesome.
Hey, my name is Jordy Clark. I started real estate about 10 years ago.
So I met Jordy actually, speaking of having other businesses, right? I met Jordy through his wife. I first got connected with her because she owns a staging company. They own a staging company. It's called Set the Stage. I think she passed out cards at an event at the Board of Realtors or something like that. And I got on the phone. It's like, she's sharp. She knows what she's doing. I used her. Terry's used her a ton. In fact, Terry's connected with her franchise now, but Set the Stage is such a great job. And anyway, just networking, I met Jordy through his wife. Set the Stage is now franchised. How many different franchises did you tell me you guys have? They closed 24 units. And they got another 30 in the works, because they have such a great system and model and their staging. I'm telling you, if you use different staging companies or any professionals in this business, there's a difference in the quality there. So, Jordy's amazing. There's his pitch card, and let me pull up. I forgot to do this. There's his QR code so you guys can connect with Jordy. you putting it in the chat too? Okay, Ashley's got you in the chat if you didn't get the QR code. I missed it.
Said, I haven't watched mine since I filmed this, so this will be.
This will be good. You just film it, say post, it's done.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't-
well, do you want to come out here and watch? So-
No.
No, it's really good. No. So here's Jake's.
As the American dream, Breen, jakebreen, founding partner of Utah. Yeah, that's a play on 90s and I've spent the last 20 years professionally involved in sales, management, all forms of investment, and done some public speaking, training, all that. It's true. National home ownership has declined over 20 years. I've been selling this. Yeah, doing what I can to keep that ownership alive. Buying real estate makes sense. Turning it into a home, memories, traditions, warm fires and summer barbecues, change this place. This is what true is. Our boutique firm not only has a proven track record with decades of expertise, we are local, plugged in, and take a zero pressure approach to advising people.
59 seconds, bam.
Boom, exclamation mark, right? That was really good. So yeah, Jake is really awesome. I actually met Jake through Josh, right? And smart people know smart people. I tend to put myself in rooms with people that are smarter than me, so I'm not going to say a lot today. I am going to let them do most of the speaking, and you'll agree with me by the end of today that I did put people smarter than me in the room. So let's
They don't have a choice, right? They're gonna have to.
they don't have a choice. Actually, you want to come help me switch this back to the.
I'm gonna do a QR code.
Oh, yes, sorry. Share pitch card. There you go. Make sure you scan. Give me a second to switch back over. Wow, that ate up more time than I thought it would. I thought I was gonna do these like 1-minute videos and then shorten the introduction time.
4 minutes in.
I know, it's like, what the heck? No, but this is really awesome, all good stuff. So we got a smaller group. I'm not really apologizing, but. So let me just put a couple thoughts in your mind to think about, whether it's your clients or whether it's you, while you guys share some stuff that they prepared. So what I don't know if I mentioned this in the agenda. These guys have each brought some slides just to give you some foundation, give you some information, open for discussion. This is like a panel discussion, right? There's Q&A. Feel free to, ask questions during, but we'll also have a little bit of time afterwards, especially while we're having lunch. But I figured their presentations and the things that are important to them about what we're going to speak about today are going to answer a lot of those questions right up on the front. So Ashley's getting this all set up. But think about this. Like I said, for your clients or for you, if you don't, I'm pretty simple. I don't really overcomplicate things. So think of it like this. If you don't own a home, buy one, right? If you can buy another 1 or 2 or more homes and somebody else can pay for it, do as many of those as you can, right? People get kind of caught up in the minutiae of what's the market doing, what's this and that. It's very, very simple. People talk about rates, right? Only 2 things are going to happen with rates. They're going to go up, and you're a freaking genius if you bought a home right now because they went up and you locked in today's rate, right? Well, if they go down, you're still a freaking genius because you locked in today's purchase price. And when the rates went down, you refinanced. So the point is get in the game. And hold on 1 second. I forgot my transition into Ashley's story. I want to make this other point too. So if you can buy a home today, buy what you can afford. Most people wait too long, right? That's not good enough for me. I want something else. Maybe it's going to be your first rental. So buy what you can afford. Don't wait to buy what you want because you'll still be able to do that later. I want to use Ashley. Ashley's sitting back here. That's my oldest daughter, Ashley. The reason I want to use her example on that is, correct me, I always say the wrong age. I've been saying 27. How old were you when you bought your third house? 26 years old. She's on her third house. The reason I bring that up is, and she's bought other properties since then, but at 26 years old, I was able to have a conversation with her and explain to her that she's already secured a better retirement that is predictable than most people in the United States. All she has to do is keep those properties rented, maintain the properties, and when she's in her mid-50s, she's gonna have a free and clear home to live in and 2 rental properties that are paid off to supplement her living expenses. And that's assuming she does nothing else. So all of us here are in real estate, we understand the advantages of real estate, but these are some talking points to have with your clients that are waiting to get in the game, right? So what we're gonna talk about today is important. Who you get your information from is important. That's why I've put these guys on the panel, because they're in the game. You only take real estate advice, hopefully. Are we good?
Keep going. I'm gonna try something.
We only should be taking real estate advice from people in real estate. It only makes sense. We should only be taking financial advice from people that either have or make more than we do. Don't listen to your broke ass friends about what you should do when it comes to money, right? We all have them. And speaking of that, whenever I get in a room with Josh and we're doing something like this, it always reminds me of this presentation we were doing to a group of investors. Probably 2005 or 2006. Now I'm up there talking about the investments that I do and the flips and the portfolio building I've done and how my friends loan me their money. They're like, hey, you've got a good game going. I don't know shit about real estate, but I've got some money. Could I loan you my money and make a good return on it by being part of what you do? So I had this friend that does $100,000, loans it to me for investing. Another friend that gave me $200,000. And Josh, for the benefit of everybody in the room, asked the question. He says, well, what if we don't have friends that have an extra $100,000? And what, do you remember what I said?
No.
Get some new friends.
Yeah, that sounds like you.
I said, get some new friends. So that's important though. The people you network with and the people you hang around with are unique comments. So being in rooms like this to get to know the people that you're sitting next to, you never know where that's going to lead. So that's what I got. So I am going to now pass the clicker to Josh.
Are you sitting or standing? You're not gonna sit. You're not a sitter. Okay. I got the clicker already.
Oh, you already got it.
Yeah.
You're good. Oh, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I just switched this around because it was on presenter view and a little hard for probably these guys to see the screen.
Oh, okay.
But I think they can still see it okay. Are we still good from a Zoom perspective?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And for our friends on Zoom, can everybody hear me okay? Eric, can I get a thumbs up? Okay, cool. How are we gonna know if the people on Zoom have questions?
They're going to put them in the chat.
And Ashley's gonna read them out?
Yep.
Okay, cool, right on. Great. All right, well, it's great to be here with everybody. Where do you want to put that?
I'll just get a little closer.
Great.
Just use your outdoor voices.
Okay, will do. So one thing that's a little interesting about me is that I've been in the mortgage business for the last 21 years. But during that same period of time, for the last 25 years, I've been a real estate investor. So I've not only been able to see thousands of people's loan applications and thousands of people buy homes multiple times over that 25-year period now, but I've seen my own wealth grow, and I've seen a property that I rented out for $300 a month over the last 25 years now rent out for $1,700 a month. So I have some diversity in terms of perspective in the real estate and mortgage game. And that I'm going to try to bring all that into this presentation. And the name of the presentation is Housing Up or Down in 2024. And based on the amount of time we have, we're only going to talk about housing up in 2024 because we're going to have time to do both. But the first thing I think we should know in the real estate.
Every time I touch the screen.
Oh, is that what happened?
Or maybe it's the lower.
You want me to just try it again? We're on this side. All right, cool. So the first thing that I think we should point out is that the consumer, the buyers that we're working with every day, the potential people who are thinking about selling their homes every day, they believe that we're headed for a housing crash. According to the Fannie Mae Consumer Sentiment Report that came out in January of this year, 83% of the people that were surveyed said that this is a terrible time to buy a home. Not a bad time, not a risky time, a terrible time to buy a home. So I think that's important because as salespeople, if we start conversing with potential buyers or potential sellers, and we start selling before we deprogram them and get to understand what they're thinking, it's an uphill battle. And just know 8 out of 10 people that we have conversations with in the back of their mind, whether they say it or not, are thinking, this is a terrible time to buy a home, or this is a terrible time for me to sell and rebuy a home. I don't want to make a big, huge mistake. I offer that because the information that I want to share with you should help people feel a lot more comfortable. And if you're working with somebody, you can just tell something's holding this person back. They're not all there with me. 83% chance because they believe it's a terrible time to buy a home and they need this information to deprogram them so they can make a logical decision. I mentioned in my pitch 59 card, I love the arc of taking a buyer or a potential buyer from making a decision off of conjecture to making a decision off of information. Like nothing is more exciting for me than that. I can get them out of their emotions and I can get them to start making intelligent decisions. All right, 3 reasons to be bullish about the housing market. The question that I hear people ask is, when is the housing market going to crash? And I think they have the question wrong. I think the question they should be asking is, how the hell has the housing market not crashed already? We just saw mortgage rates go from 2.75 to over 8%. If you would have asked me 2 years ago or a year ago, hey, mortgage rates are going to triple in the next 18 months. What do you think is going to happen to the housing market? I would have said, we're going to be in a raging bear market. We're going to be down probably at least 10, 15%. But that's not what happened. What this is the top 6 housing valuation companies across the country, right? So we've got Case-Shiller, FHFA, CoreLogic, Black Knight, Zillow, and Redfin. And this goes from January 23 through December 2023. And you can see each of those numbers that are in red means month over month, we had a negative price print, meaning that home prices retracted or went down. So for example, Case-Shiller in January said that home values nationally went down 0.2%. CoreLogic said it went down, Zillow said it went down, but FHA, Black Knight, and Redfin all said month over month there was housing appreciation. Does that make sense so far? Cool. So if we move, and by the way, the highlights in yellow, that means the index, based on if it was Case-Shiller's index or FHFA's or CoreLogic, hit a new all-time high, meaning that the prices based on their measurement had never been higher in the United States. And these are all national numbers. I'm going to talk macro. These guys are going to talk micro, more Utah-specific information. But oftentimes macro leads micro. So I think it's relevant and important. So let me fast forward to the result at the end. If we take 2023 at the very far right of the screen, and we look at all 6 of these valuation companies, every single one of them showed appreciation year over year over the previous year. And on average, if you average the high and the low between those 6 valuation companies, we saw 5.46% appreciation nationally. How is that possible? How do mortgage rates go from 2.75 to 8.25 at the high point late last year in the 4th quarter, and we still saw 5.46% appreciation? That's the question I think that we need to be answering for folks. And then if we can help them understand that mortgage rates aren't going to triple from here, like they ain't going to 24%. We've hit the cyclical high in mortgage rates, and I'll show you why that's true, that we're going to see a lot more appreciation ahead. So let's try to answer that question. How is it that housing prices didn't crash with mortgage rates tripling in a little under 18 months? Comes down to supply and demand. We all took Econ 101. So let me explain this slide. In the blue section, the blue bars, these are household formations. So I'm married, I have 2 kids. We live in one household. When my son moves out, now that'll be a household formation. We'll have 2 households. When my daughter moves out, we'll have 3 households. Then when my wife leaves me, that'll be 4 households. So a household formation is when there's a divorce or a kid leaves the house. The gold bars are housing completions. And these aren't just single family housing completions. They're all housing completions. So they include single family and apartments. So when somebody moves out of your house, they either have to rent or buy or live under a bridge, right? Those are their 3 options. So we know that these household formations, the blue bars, those are demand for housing because they got to live somewhere. And the completions are the new homes coming online to satiate that demand for the new housing. So look what happened from 2004 through 2009. The household completions, gold bars, exceeded the household formations, blue bars. Said another way, supply, new housing units, exceeded demand, new household formations. Does that make sense? And look what happened in 2006. Oops, we had a huge drop in household formations. Household formations were running, let's call it like 1.75 million. And it dropped down to under 1 million household formations in 2006. And then that trend line for household formation stayed down around 500,000 all the way to 2013. Does anybody know why we might have seen a drop in household formations in 2006? Could have been people moved in together. That could be. Interestingly enough, 33 years before that, in 1973, Roe versus Wade passed. Abortions were legalized. Contraceptives were becoming mainstream. And the birth rate 33 years before that had a whole decade of this slumping birth rate, right? That's why there's a big gap in births between your baby boomers and your millennials, right? If you're a Gen Xer like me, we saw a big crash there. Well, somebody didn't get the memo, primarily home builders. You'll see at the same time that the household formations crashed, home completions or residential completions hit an all-time high. So the builders were just trucking along, building units, apartments and homes, and they didn't see this demographic cliff that was about to hit them. So if you have too much supply and not enough demand, what happens to price? Price goes down. Econ 101, right? All right. So that's what the recipe is for a housing crash that we saw in 2006 through 2010. Now, the opposite is now true. Let's look for 2014 through the end of the year 2023. From 2014, we start to see household formations catch up with the completions of housing units. And you'll notice for the last decade, the blue bars are bigger than the gold bars, which means there's more household formations than there is these new houses that are coming on market. So now you have more demand, household formations, than you have supply, housing completions. Does that make sense? So what happens when you have more demand than you have supply? Prices go up. So this is why, if you want to decode how mortgage rates can triple and home prices still go up nationally 5.5%, which is faster than historical norms nationally. So how do we have faster than normal appreciation in spite of mortgage rates tripling? This is the reason. And the same thing is true today. So these are housing starts as of the fourth quarter of 2023. You had 1.45 million housing completions. Of those, 960,000 were single family completions. So all residential completions, 1.45 million, but you had household formations of 1.9 million. So even in 2023, we're building 450,000 less residential housing units to satiate the number of household formations. Does that make sense? Let's pause there for a second, because that's the most important dynamic shift that a buyer or a potential seller that's part of that 83% who thinks that there's an imminent housing crash, they need to understand the basic supplies and demands of real estate. Does that land? Yes, sir.
The completions include all these big apartment complexes going up.
Yeah, the question was, do the completions include the apartment buildings? And they do. So this slide, you'll see it shows completions 1.45 million nationally, and your single family completions are 960. So it includes residential units. Cool. All right. So reason number two that the housing market is likely to do very well is the fact that there's just still more demand created by household formations than completions. All right. So now I'm going to go into what's going to happen with mortgage rates and why I believe that's going to unleash a whole nother round of pent-up demand. Okay, because a lot of these folks that these household formations, they moved into apartments versus single-family homes buying because they couldn't afford it. So let's look at the unemployment rate going back to 1950. And if you listen to the government or the mouthpiece of the government, the news narrative. It's that we can't enter a recession because unemployment level is so low, right? The job market's too healthy. We can't possibly be near a recession. Well, that's actually not true if you look at history. So what I've circled here are the cyclical lows of the unemployment rate. So what happens in a business cycle is business is good. Employers hire a bunch of employees. Then the business cycle turns over. They start to let go of those employees. And the bottom of the unemployment cycle, when the unemployment level hits those lows, 3.7, 2.5, 3.7, you'll notice as the unemployment rate starts to tick up, 100% of the time, going back to 1950, we enter an economic recession. 100% of the time. Now, this is important because recessions correlate to mortgage rates, and I'm going to tie those two things together. But the point I want to make is 100% of the time, once the unemployment rate bottoms and moves up, we enter a recession, and usually within the next 12 months. Well, the unemployment rate bottomed in this cycle in 2023 at 3.4%. Dang it, I updated this slide this morning and I forgot to send it to you, Ashley. And now the unemployment rate as of March 8th is at 3.9%. So we bottomed at 3.4, we're already up to 3.9, and 100% of the time, going back over the last 70 years, that means that there's an economic recession ahead of us. Make sense? Okay, here's why this is important to, I'll show you one other slide as it relates to recessions. So these are permanent job losses versus just the unemployment rate. Because somebody has a part-time job, they still counted as employed. But what's happening right now, what's interesting is that the permanent job losses are really accelerating. And a lot of people have moved to part-time work. It's kind of masking the effects in the economy right now. So this slide just goes back to 1995. And what it shows you is when you see permanent job losses kind of go from a flat to a curving up, you hit an economic recession. And you can see where we are right now in 2023, the permanent job losses are way more significant. You see how much of a big upturn that is on the right-hand side of the screen as compared to the rest of the recessions. So it's just another indicator that says whether you're measuring all joblessness or part-time or permanent, all of these indicators are saying we're likely headed for an economic recession. And here's just 50 companies since January 1st that have announced layoffs. I mean, look at these companies: BlackRock, Twitch, Bumble, LA Times, eBay, Snap. Like, these are companies Xerox lays off 15% of the workforce. Charles Schwab, 6%. This is since January, 2.5 months. So the unemployment picture is not looking good. Now, here's why this is relevant to real estate, and here's what people get wrong. 100% of the time, when we enter an economic recession, mortgage rates go down. In 1975, rates go down from 10 to 8.75. In 1982, rates go from 16 to 11.75, on and on and on and on and on and on. And we've already seen the cyclical peak in mortgage rates that came in the fourth quarter of 2023 when we broke 8%. And now we're back down high 7 or low 7, high 6% range. So we're already following that exact same trend line. Now, why doesn't anybody like to talk about recessions? Because we have recency bias, and we link recession with housing crash. Because what happened in the Great Recession? We all got our ass kicked, right? If you own real estate, it was a very uncomfortable time. I'm going to show you a slide here to wrap up before I hand it over to Jordy that shows that was an anomaly. That is not what normally happens when you hit economic recessions. Because remember this stat: for every 1% that mortgage rates go down, Black Knight, who's one of the largest data aggregators in real estate data in the country, Black Knight says for every 1% that interest rates go down, mortgage rates, 5 million more Americans qualify for homeownership. So I just showed you for the last 10 years, there's been more household formations than there have been housing completions, pent up demand sitting in apartments. And for every 1% mortgage rates go down, 5 million more people qualify for homeownership, and we're still building 450,000 too few housing units a year to keep up with population growth. There's a tsunami of buyers out there waiting to enter the housing market if rates continue on this path. All right, I'm going to move through this quick. I'm not gonna do this one either, because Jordy deserves the time. All right, so my prediction is we're gonna finish the year in the high 6 to mid 5% interest rate range. I know that's a big range, but it's better than probably where we sit right now. And under 6% should really, all the data and surveys say, you know, I wouldn't move from a 3% mortgage to an 8% mortgage, but from 3 to 5.75, yeah, I'll probably do that. So if we hit that, we're gonna see a lot of move up buyers. I think we'll see another 5% appreciation this year, and good news for all of us, transaction volumes will be up. All right. This is the slide that people need to see over the next year, because I think the talk of the conversation about a recession is going to become more and more obvious as this year unfolds, especially after the election. Okay, then there's going to be a lot of talk about a recession. And if you go back to 1942, what this slide shows you is every year from 1942 to 2023, it shows you the average mortgage rate for each one of those years. And then it tells you if home prices were up or down. Home price is indicated by a green highlight. If the price is up, excuse me. If you had flat appreciation, like in 1955, prices weren't up or down. So it's just white and it shows 0%. And then you can see in 1990, 1991, -1%, -0.1%. And then where's the outlier? 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, consecutive years of negative appreciation. So if you go back to 1942, I believe the number is 9 recessions over that period of time. And you had a little bit, 1% of negative home values in 1990. And then you had the Great Recession in 2007 to 2011 that caused the negative home values. So if you do the math, 74 up years, 7 down years, and some of those down years were down 0.1%, 1%, and 1 year, 1955, when housing prices weren't up or weren't down. What's the point? The point is, the Great Recession had nothing to do with the fact that there was a recession that caused home values to go down, even though it's called the Great Recession, so we anchor into that. The point was overbuilding, too much supply, not enough demand is what caused the housing crash in 2006. And once people understand this, they can make decisions from a lot more place of certainty, right? People just don't want to go out on a limb for their first home or go from a $500,000 home to $1 million home and then have the home price drop 20%. This is the information that they need to understand. There's not enough homes, mortgage rates are coming down, and real estate has a 90% appreciation rate or 90% win rate over time.
Hey, Josh, those 6, 7, 8, that time frame, I mean, that was not natural correct. That was politically driven, self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
Credit crunch, which is what the politicians created.
Yeah, Terry's bringing up the fact that the Great Recession, there were more dynamics at play there. You had the complete loss of underwriting due diligence, right? Nobody had to prove their ability to repay or their down payment or that they've ever paid anything on time for their entire life, right? We would just give credit. And that's because people who were making those guidelines were looking at this and going, housing never goes down. We can just do whatever the heck we want. Well, not if there's a demographic cliff that you're about to fall off of, and there's more supply than demand, and you gave all those people loans that didn't qualify. That was just, 2 trains hitting head on. And now everybody has to credit scores, prove their ability to pay, where their down payment from. I mean, it's a financial oscopy. Last slide, I'll turn it over to Jordy. Look, if people are thinking about, if they're buying this narrative that it's a better financial decision to rent versus buy, they need to take a long, hard look at this slide. The average net worth of a renter in 2010 is $5,400. The average net worth of a renter in 2022, the end of 2022, is $10,400. Look at the average net worth of the homeowner. The average net worth of the homeowner is $385,000. That means you're 38.5 times as wealthy as the average renter. Like, the proof's in the pudding. You got to get off the sideline. You got to get in the market. You got to do it before rates go down. That's me. If anybody wants to connect with me, I'm on social. You can have my pitch card and turn it over to Jordy.
Go back.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't wait to- Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that up. Uh, Other than with my family. So, I've got 3 cute little kids, wife that I way outbatted my coverage on, in multiple ways. And yeah, so very blessed. I wanted to talk about my journey and kind of layer on top of, Josh's high level statistics on what I've seen. First off, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2013. And I was like, oh, this is great, like passive income, I need it. I got my real estate license in 2014. Because I erroneously thought I have to be a realtor to buy rental properties. Or at least I was like, hey, I'm gonna save 3%. I bought my first home on the right in 2014. It was a foreclosure, Fannie Mae foreclosure. We bought it for 166,000 bucks. It was a 3-bed, 1-bath, like 1,500 square foot condo in West Jordan. And then we bought our first rental in 2015. I paid 121 grand for it. And both of these deals, when I bought them, the townhouse, I was like, holy cow, I'm going to have a $900 mortgage. How am I ever going to afford this? My rental, I bought it and I was like, holy cow, I am way overpaying for this crappy little house in West Jordan that's on a septic tank. And at the time, they both looked like mediocre deals. Okay. Today, that condo in West Jordan, oddly enough, I just closed on one that I'm flipping down the street from it, very similar. I just paid $290 for a fixer upper. Okay, it's probably worth $380 to $390. I don't want to think what the little house is worth. It's probably worth the same. So I started scaling my real estate team in 2016. I started representing a home builder, Alpine Homes, in 2017. I got the opportunity to learn a lesson and bought a business partner out in 2018. I let my whole team go in 2018, and I just focused on selling for Alpine Homes as an agent. And that's where I just collected a paycheck essentially. And then I started flipping homes in 2019. My strategy was, and I was talking to James earlier about this, so maybe this answers some of your questions. My strategy was, I'm going to flip 2 houses, and then from that, I'm going to have enough cash that I can go buy 1 rental property. Because here I was, I've been in the business for 5 years, and I didn't have any rental properties to show from it. We had sold both of those properties to go and buy a house in Harriman that we lived in. So, and I was like frustrated. I'm like, man, I'm making this good money, but I'm not going anywhere. So I bought 2 rentals in 2019. The first was at 8061 Allen Street. I bought it at a foreclosure auction because my business primarily was helping other people invest. And I literally remember in 2019 thinking, I told all these people not to buy a house in Kearns for 75 grand in 2014 because I'd sold one for 72 the week before. And at that point, they were worth like 200,000. And I was like, I really got to get in the game. So I bought this house at auction. I paid 225,000. And at the time I was like, holy cow, this house is not worth 225,000. I'm overpaying. I put 40 grand into it and it appraised for 295,000. So I was into that deal. I bought it with a hard money loan, obviously, because it was a trustee sale, a foreclosure auction. I had to pay cash the next day. So I got a bridge loan, which is just a short-term, high interest, like I call them Guido loans, right? Like if you don't pay them back, they're going to break your kneecaps. And it's very quick. So then I refinanced it and I was only into it for 40,000 bucks. Which is, in my opinion, better than paying $295,000 for a house and putting 20% down plus loan fees. And oddly enough, the next, that address is wrong, but the next house I bought was around the corner and a wholesaler had sent it out for about the same price, but it needed way less work. So I was like, hey, I know what this house is worth because I just bought this one and just had it appraised. So the house on Oak Street, I actually did the same thing. I bought it with a hard money loan.
And then I sent a handyman in to do like $2,000 worth of repairs, and I immediately refinanced it, and I was into that house for $3,000. So fast forward, that's how I built my portfolio, property after property, all the while I was flipping homes and I was selling, making commissions for a builder. In 2023, I wrapped up my relationship with the builder, and I had a portfolio of 55 long-term rental properties. From 2019 to 2022, I flipped an average of 3 homes a month. And from 2022 to 2023, I lost $250,000 flipping houses. It was a fun year. But I don't owe any taxes from last year. So usually what I do is I go and I try to find off-market deals. This was a house in North Salt Lake that I flipped. You can see I really didn't do much to the outside other than paint it. Put new garage doors on it and painted it, and it makes a world of difference. This was the inside. Kept the cabinets the same. We modified above the range so a microwave would fit. We painted the cabinets, did quartz countertops, is a cosmetic remodel. Okay. A lot of people ask where I find off-market deals, and I literally just go to Real Estate Investor Association meetings. I would take a picture of this if I were you guys. They're $150 a year to join, and the knowledge you learn here is way more valuable than the tens of thousands of dollars in coaching programs that people will sell you on how to invest in real estate. I've networked with people that I've bought houses from, that I've sold houses to here at the RIAs. It's a great place to go. So that house on Oak Street that I bought, this was an email from the wholesaler. You probably recognize that format. Yep. And the wholesalers, I always tell this story because the wholesalers put all of our investors against each other and try to get us to spend more money, because the more we spend, the more they make. Well, I knew there's a bunch of people at this wholesale walkthrough, and I knew no one was going to buy this because they were widening I-15 at the time. And everyone that was there was talking about flipping it. And they were worried about I-15 because UDOT literally had the sound wall down and you could see cars going 90 miles an hour. And so they do this thing where they call people back and forth and they're like, hey, well, this person's willing to pay us 227. Can you do 228, right? I don't fault them, but you got to know the game that's played with wholesalers. So I told them, I said, I'll pay you 224.9, but I can't pay anything. Partly because I was like, I want to see if I can get it for 225, because they tried to get me to bid up, and at the end of the day, they took it. They made like $7,500 wholesaling to me, which is not bad for a couple hours of their effort and some marketing dollars. And I got a house for $3,000. So this literally was the pictures I took at the inspection when I walked through it. That house so this was 2019. I paid 224. It was worth 295. I did an 80% loan to value refi at $236,000, and I paid 5.25% interest. My payment was $1,500. I rented it for $1,745 a month, and it cash flowed $245 a month. My total investment was $4,000. Okay, take a picture of that because it gets better. Fast forward to January 2020. Oh, you want me to go back? Sorry. Just tell me. Yeah, we're good. So, after you get a few residential mortgages, it gets more and more difficult to get residential mortgages, right? Like I would say after 7, it gets very difficult. So, I was just calling at this point in time. I had kind of maxed out. I hadn't really maxed out, but it was just getting really tough. And I had a friend, Matt Strong. He was like, dude, you should look at small apartments. And I was like, oh, I can't afford it. Well, I started just calling other agents, and I was like, hey, I'm in the market for like 5 or 6 years. I called one agent and she's like, hey, I actually have somebody that wants to sell theirs. They're going on a mission. They bought it, you know, when everything cost 3 raspberries in the crash. And yeah, so I negotiated that we would seller finance this. This is a 5-plex in Sandy. It's really interesting, man. I want to like jump into all the details, but I'll keep it high level. We paid 900 grand. We put 150 grand down. When we purchased it, the gross rents were $5,600 a month. The gross rents now, and I did this slide last year, it's actually higher, $8,215 a month. So we actually now, I think we're at like $106,000 gross rent per year on this little 5-plex. And it's really interesting. You can see it's a house over there on the right, and then it's basically 2 duplexes. And then there's a commercial lot on State Street. So we're going to go to Sandy and we're going to try to get them to split the lot that's right next to State Street. So we can put like a little soda shop or a little office right there because we already own the land. And our financing's phenomenal. We have like a 4% interest rate on this. And our payment's $4,000 a month. Okay. But when we bought it, again, we were looking at it and we're like, oh, $4,000 a month plus taxes, plus insurance, and our rents are only $5,600 a month. So it was a tight deal. And I hope you guys are seeing a theme whenever we bought something. Okay. So this is another little townhouse that I bought on seller finance. I cash flowed $35 a month. Okay. But I was able to control this asset with $28,000 down using seller finance. Okay. And it was probably worth $245,000. I sold that townhouse and I bought a 6-plex because again, I was picking up the phone, I was calling people, I was looking for off-market deals. The pictures on the left are when I bought it. The pictures on the right are when I was midway through my renovations. Okay. I bought it for just over $1 million. We invested about $50,000 renovating it. And in 2022, our appraisal came in at 1.4 million. Okay. So I created another $400,000 in equity by raising rents and improving our property. In 2023, our gross rents were about $106,000 a year, $8,800 a month. I had a car hit that. That was fun. Glad I'm not a property manager because she got a call at 2 a.m. from one of the residents. And somebody had stolen this car, was fleeing from the police, and ran into it. And I actually have a video from one of my tenants' Ring cameras where you can see 2 guys bail out of the car and one of them tucks a pistol in. Wow, he's running. And this is in Murray, right? So life happens. This will happen as the more rentals you own, the more this is going to happen. Okay. So fast forward, this little house on Oak Street in 2021, value had gone up from 295 to 375. I refied, my payment dropped, the rent had gone up, and now I was cash flowing $489 a month. Okay. So rents went up. I sold it in 2022 and my rent was $21.95 a month and I had a 3.125% rate. Okay. And a lot of people are going to say this. Why would you ever sell a property that has 3% interest rate? Anyone have any ideas? Better opportunity. What was that?
Same thing.
Same thing. I sold it and made $181,000 off of a $4,000 investment. And this is like a home run. Not all of my deals were this good. I wish they were. But my goal is to buy as much real estate as possible with it. Okay. Because, I'll get to why in a second. I bought a duplex in Ogden for $392,000. The gross rents were $2,900 a month. I bought a 4-plex in Salt Lake for $725,000. The gross rents were $4,700 a month. Okay. In 2023, everyone's worried about interest rates. and I would say it's probably still true today. They also think there's no deals out there. In 2023, I bought this house in Ogden to flip. I paid 130,000. We put 80 into it and I sold it for 315 and I made about 60,000 bucks. And there's another one in Payson that I bought for 310. We put 70 into it. And I made about 45,000. I also bought this great little duplex in Magna for 325 grand off market. The gross rents are 1,300 bucks a unit. And we actually got a little bit better interest rate when we refinanced that and appraised it 430. I didn't do anything to that. So this is a picture of our Ogden fix and flip. Picture is on the left where before, right are after. And this is a quote. Can I get someone to read this? James, can you read that for us? Think about.
To remember the word imagination, find sword, great courage, concentrate on your goal every day, or save 10% of what you earn. Take action. Ideas are worthless unless you can.
There you go. So it's from Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. So my investment thesis is if you're investing in Utah, which I don't think you should be investing anywhere else because as real estate professionals, we have a lot of inside knowledge about what's happening in Utah. What Josh talked about was supply and demand. Well, how much further east can we build? We can't. How much further west can we build? Not a lot of places that we can build further west, right? Like I can think of a few: South Jordan, Eagle Mountain, Tooele, Erda, like Grantsville. So we have a finite amount of land. And I think over the next 10 years, whatever something is worth today, it's going to be worth twice as much in 10 years. Whatever something is renting for today is going to be worth twice as much in 10 years. Okay. So I'm willing to let go of my 3% interest rate properties that have a boatload of equity in them because I know I can go and buy more income in the future by trading into something different, if that makes sense. Okay. So I've got a podcast. I don't record regularly right now just because of a few constraints that I have on my time, but I've got over 100 episodes that I've interviewed people who are financially free, who just to help other people. So there's a ton of information there. I think I've got like 120 episodes just to try to help other people on their journey. So with that being said, any questions?
It's time in the market, right, Jordy? Not timing the market. And to Jordy's point that he was just wrapping up there, the Utah MLS system, which the one you log into today is on its 3rd version, and they've got data and statistics back to 1971. The state's, the governor's office, Utah Economic Development Department, the head is James Wood. He does a lot of the financial, like breakfast forecast for the board. A lot of people know his name from that. He advised Eccles Institute, Huntsman. They've got data back to 1930 on just median price and what the market's done. And it is true in Salt Lake County, at least, which reverberates throughout the Wasatch Front, that the market median price has doubled every 10 to 12 years since 1930 in Utah. And Josh and I have done this quite a bit for many years, and he does macro and I do micro. So I, in the essence of time, will fast track our local data. Everything I'm going to go over is Salt Lake County, but just know that that's our biggest data grab. And Salt Lake County does really reverberate to Utah, Davis, Weaver. Information and statistics, depending on price bracketing, are quite different in Summit and Wasatch counties. And you gotta cipher that information a little bit differently because, for example, Summit County could be Main Street, Park City, or you could be talking the rural areas of Summit County. And a lot of these percentages I'm going to go over for you
are not the exact same up there with that caveat. But for me, the easiest way to understand the Utah market, or the quickest way, since we all locally operate our own MLS system, is just to log into the MLS, tab over to, you're used to going to full home search and then putting in information for your client. If you go 3 more tabs over, there's a button called statistics. And just like a home search, let me back up a little here. I was a managing broker for 4 years, opened and ran Sotheby's in Salt Lake, and then 9 years at Berkshire Hathaway. So I've trained about 1,000 agents locally, and then also travel around the country training on this. And despite roughly 1,000 over a 14-year time frame in Utah, probably only 1% that came to classes that learned how to do this would ever even tab over to statistics and realize that just like a home search, you can tab over statistics and customize the data you want to see in the exact same format that you would do a home search. And that was actually the #1 roadblock for people. They'd come to a class with me, they'd see all these charts and graphs and all this stuff, and then go, how did he get all that? And then they'd go back to the statistics tab, click a statistical report, and see that the home search options we're used to is what shows up on the screen. And there's the roadblock. They're going, I must have pressed something wrong. I'm in a home search here. And they're forgetting that you can look by zip code, you can look by county, you can look by square footage, you can look by price ranges. So what we're going to just glance at quickly here is all home sales, single family, condo, and townhouse in Salt Lake County. All right, so I like to point and talk a little bit. This is the home sales graph. This is updated for you as a member of the MLS system on a quarterly basis, and it's really simple. So if you want to talk about this in a screen share in Zoom, you are sending an email to a client and you want to, per Josh's point, use data to back up what you're saying, this is the quickest, easiest way to tab over, run your search, screenshot, insert it into an email. I do this on the daily, multiple times a day. Every time you do the home sales graph, depending on what zip code, county, or information you put in, you're going to get an exact same looking graph with 3 colors. You're going to get blue, which is median price per quarter. You're going to get green, which is the number of listings that came on the market in that quarter. And you're going to get black, which is the number of home sales that occurred in that quarter. All right. And so on this one, we're looking from 2022 first quarter until fourth quarter of 2023. So you got exactly 2 years. In that time frame, a lot of people will say, all right, what did interest rates do to our local market? The peak of our market, if you want to define that by top median price of all time, was May of 2022. If you can reverse your mindset back then, that's right about when rates started trickling up. As they trickled up, we know what happened. Median price went down. Wouldn't you know, though, what I found ironic is that if you take peak to bottom, which was only 3 quarters, median price went down 17% in under a year. Does anyone know the Great Recession timeframe of 4 years? In our market, it was 4 years. Nationally, it was 5. In our market, remember back in 2008, if you were in real estate at that time, we were saying things like, yeah, it's crashed in Vegas and Southern California, but it's not going to hit us here. We're Utah. Like, we're not that expensive. I was saying that. And then November of 2008 is when we saw a statistical median price downturn in Salt Lake County. And then ours ended winter of 2012. So 4 years. Does anyone remember in that 4-year time frame how much median price went down? 34%. But it was over 4 years. What I find ironic is just recently, this wasn't in the news that much. And this was a sharper, swifter downturn than the Great Recession. Yet, to Josh's point, nationally, why did it ping right back up in under a year, even though interest rates kept doing this? It was everything he went through. I'll give you the local micro data, but it was simply a supply and demand issue. And the reason for that was there was all the other things this gentleman mentioned, non-predatory lending and all the other hoopla of the Great Recession. But if you just want to put it in data packed, there was super low supply. Okay. Here is that exact same chart set of information, but reversed all the way back to 2008. Okay. Now, this is too convoluted to see the numbers, but let me tell you how I'll often put this in layman terms for my clients. I will say, do you see the black line and the green line? A lot of people will go, oh man, we did not see the Great Recession coming. And how could we know if that's going to happen now or in 2024? To Josh's point. Well, if you want to make it simple, stupid, every time the green line comes about to touch the black line or they intersect, we see pricing spike. We see appreciation. What is the green line? Okay, green line is number of listings that were put on the market. Black line is the number of listings that sold. Okay, so if we were to reverse back to the very beginning of this graph in 2008, and us Utahns are saying, yeah, Vegas has crashed, some markets in Arizona, definitely Southern California, but we're not that expensive. It's not going to hit us. And then all of a sudden, within less than a year, it hit us really hard. And we saw the same trend down as the rest of the nation. I didn't really know it back then, although I kind of paid attention to this stuff. Now I can say with confidence, we should have seen it coming. Because look at the gap between green, the number of listings that came on the market, that's 8,254 in one quarter. And the number of sold, which was 2,000 and something in that quarter. So we had 4.5 times the amount of homes come on the market in 90 days than we had sold. We're a seasonal market. Maybe that could happen in like October, November, December. Happen again the next quarter. Happen again the next quarter. And check this out, guys. If I zoomed this in, median price still went up for 2 quarters when we saw this gap. Okay. That is the other thing that I love about real estate that I don't think any other asset class shares. We do actually have a crystal ball in real estate. We can kind of predict the future a little bit with certainty, not with just our opinions. Why? There's a definitive reason why. The escrow period. That's the only reason why. We track when something goes under contract and when it's going to close. That's typically, let's say, 30, 35 days. So we have an indicator. Here's another little secret. This is something I've tracked for over a decade now. You can take number of homes in escrow divided by number of homes listed and track that percentage. And locals will say, oh yeah, the spring market is when it's hot. I would tell you that up or down or soft market, the number of properties going into escrow always spikes right around Valentine's. Okay. Now we say that the spring selling season is upon us in like April, May, but a lot of those properties are going into escrow starting as early as February. Okay. The years that I've tracked this, it's typically between 40 to about a 68% increase from what it was during the holiday season. So if you take our lowest selling season, October, November, December, I like to say Halloween to Christmas when I'm talking to clients, and then say, oh yeah, we're thinking about moving next year. I want to get ready. Is it going to get more expensive? Will more inventory come on? Is it a good time to buy? What will rates do? All these roadblocks we get, right? I will typically say to a client, yes, I hear you on all that. Unfortunately, we're a seasonal market. And even in soft years at national statistics that Josh just showed, we're still expecting 5-ish% this year. I think Utah will be, or I think Salt Lake County will be more like 10 to 12% median price appreciation this year. But that's not 1% in January, 1% in February, 1% in March. That's typically stagnation from October through January. Then it's typically about 1% in February. Then it's 2% in March. Then it's 3% in April, May, June. July lags because we have 2 holidays. A lot of Utahns go on vacation, typically just a little bit. And then if we see any sort of pullback, which has only happened about 7 of the last 90 years of data, it's typically only 1 or 2% into the fall winter. Said another way to a first-time home buyer, I know there's not a lot to choose from. I know we've shopped on Saturday and you said you'll wait for the right house to come along. I know that we're looking at townhomes in the 400 range. Unfortunately, in the next 30 days, not in the next year, next 30 days, it's 10,000 more bucks. 30 days later, it's 20,000. 30 days later, we're probably around 35,000. So should we wait or should we start making some offers? I put that a little more colorfully when I'm talking to a client, but to put it facetiously, you can really use this data to your advantage, okay? And this is very powerful, and you can do this. You're all very familiar with the MLS system. You can pull this up and make it as simple and easy to understand as green and black lines touching, intersecting, median prices going up. And after you've watched this enough times, it's really easy to understand these trends. This is the last thing I'll just quickly show you. You don't really need to pay attention to the numbers here. Let's just go higher level and I'll explain you what you're looking at. The graphical information, the way the MLS is programmed, only updates quarterly. Okay, so the next update will be April 1st. This exact same information can be regurgitated in real time if you tab over to statistics and you pull up what's called the sales per month report. This is what the sales per month report looks like. What you're staring at is real time. So if you go close out a property MLS and I hit refresh on this, it will show in March of 2024, another sale occurred. And it's a monthly snapshot of what's happened in Salt Lake County. So I'll read February 2021, 1,112 properties sold. The average asking price was 400. The average sold price was 415. So the average list to sell price ratio was 104%. Remember that time frame? COVID, multiple offers. That's why on average, over 1,000 properties sold for higher than asking. Only 104. 104. Oh, that's the entire average though, right? We saw a lot being bid up 10, 15%. But it equals out, it's still, of every single home that sold, 104% of asking, okay? And then median price per foot, bed, bath, and days on market. What I will often do in videos when I'm doing statistical breakdowns for clients, and here's one I just did yesterday, so I'll try to give you the highlights. Here's what I'm seeing. From peak of May 2022, we saw that 17% median price decline. And then, and that was by January of 2023. And then we erased 10% of that 17% decline early last year. So from February to June. And so at that point, we were only down 7% from all-time peak, okay? So again, to the point, begging the question, does the market crash? Well, that already happened. That was like over a year ago, okay? Here's what stands out to me just yesterday. And I said this in January, but I wasn't quite sure. And I don't believe data to be predictable until it happens a few months in a row. January of 2024 was the second month in a row that unit sales outpaced the same month of the prior year. And we had not seen that occur for 13 months. And interest rates were still high. Okay. Then it occurred in February. It will certainly, at the pace March is on right now, will occur again in March. You can also go back and not only compare unit sales, but compare median price. So if we take January 2023 to 2024, February 2023 to 2024, and March, they're all up somewhere between 6 and 7% of same time last year. Unit sales up, price up. And then list to sell price ratio. The most powerful way to use list to sell price ratio is your clients that are ready to make an offer. They're finally convinced of all this. Asking price is 400. It's been on the MLS for 2 days, and they want to offer 375 now and $20,000 in closing costs and rate buy down. Is anyone experiencing this like I am? I don't blame our customers. We just went through a year of being able to do that. But now most of my agents are banging their head against the wall in these scenarios because they're going, I don't quite know what to tell the client, but we're missing out on stuff. Well, shoot, I'll wait for more spring inventory to come on the market. Hopefully it gets easier. You use list to sell price ratio. You say, yeah, I get it. You know what? Actually, last winter, I don't quite have that in this graph, but if we could scroll up, it was 93, 94% in 2023 when the market had bottomed out and rates had hit all-time high. It's now 97, 97, 97, and right now, so far in March, 237 closings in Salt Lake County, 100% of asking price. Okay. And it's very powerful when you have a track record of being able to explain this to clients, or you've done a few Instagram posts, Facebook posts, videos, whatever it may be, and you've kind of been telling them this stuff, but you don't want to go at it too hard. And they're 2 or 3 months down the road and they're kind of frustrated or they've missed out on one. And you go, yeah, remember this video that I sent you about 90 days ago? Here's how it's changed. And we got to change our strategy. Those moments are very frustrating for a client to hear, but they're also extremely powerful. You win them for life because you go, all right, what do we do now? Let's regroup. I just pumped this one out. We probably do have to go full price, try to get your closing costs. That might sound frustrating, but in June, you're going to look back and go, oh, it's appreciated 7 to 9%. And spring's the most famous time to be able to do that because we power pack that seasonality of appreciation in those months. Okay. So that's all I got for you on the micro data. Yeah.
So that conversation has been one I've tried to navigate for many years, which is how do you know, we're supposed to protect our clients, we have fiduciary for them, help them get a good deal, whatever that means for them. But
yeah,
how do you navigate that line of, hey, we should just offer full price, and when they're kind of in their mind, what's the cheapest I can get this house for?
Yep.
Just, I don't know if you had like a couple of lines that you use, but I'm often finding myself, I feel like I'm pitting myself against the client. Hey, Randy, you should be protecting me. Why are you telling me off full price? I should want to get it for less, but how do you,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, showing these numbers, but is there some languaging that helps?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Remember the extremely unique thing about real estate as an asset, the escrow period. There's another very unique thing about real estate that I haven't found, which is if you think about how we are all jaded as consumers, we're all extremely jaded these days. You want a new TV? Well, you know the price is going to go down. They're always getting cheaper. You know that you can lazily shop it on Amazon. You know you can have it right now instead of Amazon Prime by tomorrow. If you drive down to Costco, you could compare Costco to Walmart or whatever online, and so on with every freaking thing we consume. So don't blame our customers when they put on that exact same consumer hat and their only definition of whether they get a good deal or not is how much you negotiate for them, right? That's the predecessor of what you're asking, because every consumer thinks that. And they're often going to define your worth as an agent as to how much you got them off list. How much does list price have to do with how good a deal you got? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What are we all going to do is commission economies start happening and AI comes into our industry? Where's our value as agents? Explaining that list price has nothing to do with it. Let me bring my expertise to the table, show you this data, comp it out, and decide if this seller's overpriced or not. Once you do that, you go, they're not actually. And we saw 4 other people looking at it. That's not why I suggest to offer full price. But I suggest that because of comps, this data, the seasonality in our market. Once you do that, and here's the art. I've taught a class around the country for years. It's called the 3 Ps. And it's first, step back, take a breath, and define what problem you're trying to solve. Define the problem. Then paint the picture. So painting the picture is the art form. What data do you need to grab from the MLS and your experience to paint an accurate picture to resolve their problem? And then lastly, wrap it in a package. How are you going to prove it to them? Okay. The first time you do this, quite challenging, just like filming videos or whatever else they tell us to do to market ourselves. It's always hard to start. Once you've done it 10, once you've done it 100 times, it's as fast or faster than an MLS search. Cool, I pull up the property. Cool, I just comped the house. Let me take one extra step that none of my competition does. Hop into data and statistics, grab all this more granular data so I can powerfully answer their question. Does that help you?
Yeah, thank you.
Right on.
Let me add to that, rather give you a dumber down version of what he just said. You mentioned protect. Your client saying, hey, isn't it your job to protect me? That doesn't start until you're writing the offer. There's nothing to protect them from. What comes before protection is education. So they're talking about the market, they're talking about the trends and list price. Did the homeowner pick the list price or did the listing agent? Where did they get their data? Who picked that list price? So explaining to them that the ratio between their discount that they perceive they should be getting off of list price, that's not your job to get them a cheaper price from the list price. Your job is to educate them on what the proper offer is to get the house if they actually want it. Then the protection comes in on crafting the offer and negotiating the point.
I'm gonna add 2 cents too. So I would coach you to not focus on the price. Well, and I'd ask the question, did your clients actually tell you, like, are you really trying to protect me? Did they say that, or is that what you're telling yourself?
Oh, no, I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, so the consensus is, yeah, I mean, you just know people want to get lower than list in given markets with the multiple counteroffer. Nobody was saying that, obviously, they know the market, but in times where I think that was very valuable what you said, and I looked up the stats fairly, it was as low as 92% list with sell. And so, yeah, of course, I'm gonna get you closing costs. I almost guarantee you, I get you closing costs and stuff. But not every client says, but I'm just saying in particular conversations, just navigating that, you know, hey, I want to offer lower. So this is the client that says, I want to offer lower. You come back and say, lower is not going to get you the house. Oh, you fighting against me. You're with the listing agent.
Go back to that.
That's what.
So, yeah, so I would say, like, I would personally ask, well, why do you want a lower price?
Yeah.
So let's role play. Why do you want a lower price?
Yeah, because I don't pay what they're asking of. I want to feel like I got some equity in this thing.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is you want to feel like you're getting a deal.
Yep.
Right. My opinion is value is relative, right? So if I'm gonna list a house for $500,000 and Jake's a buyer, his wife loves it, and they'll pay $550, and Josh's wife hates it, and he only wants to pay $450. Value is relative, right? But what I'm hearing you say is you want to feel like you're getting a deal and you want to lock in equity. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So the equity is gonna happen when you're in the game, right? And 10% a year appreciation, like, I think based on Federal Housing Finance Agency, and this is all stuff that you can research in the statistics, you can research it on FHFA. I think we average 7-10% a year appreciation, right? That usually happens in the spring. That's a conversation I'd be having with somebody in December when they don't want to write an offer, because I always like to buy stuff in December and sell it in spring if I'm selling, if I'm going to sell it, right? So I load up on flips when I flip in November, December, January, so nobody else is buying. And then I sell them in the spring, right? And I load when I'm here, but December's a great time to buy. So I would ask them questions about like, why is it important to write a lower priced offer? Because right now isn't the time. The time to write a lower priced offer was 8 months ago. But you're also gonna have a different 8 months in the future. And you're gonna get your equity if you get this house. If you don't, you continue to rent for 8 months, you might not get it, right? And you just have to stay in that data, and that's gonna be protecting you best, because a lot of times, like, we think we have to get a lower price to be representing our clients the best. And price is the easiest thing for everyone to manipulate their minds, but people don't think about the scarcity of land we have. People don't think about the record number of people we have as net in migration, right? And you don't have much space. So,
But I think another important thing to identify is why they're buying the property. If they're gonna live there for 10 years, that's different than if they're gonna be here too, right? So if you identify the purpose of the acquisition, then you can have a different conversation. Go back in history, use previous deals you've done. I bring up my first deal that I bought a lot because it was my first deal, and I bought it in 1991. 4-bedroom, 3-bath townhome in Provo, for $48,000. So looking back where we're at now, right, my intent was to hold it forever. I like Josh's plan. He's got a 100-year plan when he buys real estate, right? So why are they buying that property? I could have paid 55, right? Because it was competition or no competition. I just want that property if it suits my needs. Looking back, would I have failed? At the time, people said, I'm telling you, I pay above the price. So we get these arguments, it could be more than it's worth, but why?
Let
Sitting right here was my first client building this portfolio that says, oh, it's listed at 139, give him 145, I want. We weren't even in a competitive market. We had just looked at 12 houses that he didn't want. He's like, I want this one, get it. Because he knew he was gonna hold it for a long time. Does it matter that it was worth 139, he paid 145?
Those are such great stories. I think the best way, because what you're dealing with in that situation is emotion, it's not fact, right? So sometimes you give them the fact, but they're not at that place. They're I emotionally need an endorphin hit by getting the price below the asking price. So I think the best way to unhinge somebody from an emotional position is through that story. Like, I would use that story to carry out. I'll never forget the first time I had a client, the property was for 139, they paid 145. I thought it was kind of crazy. Guess what the house worth today? Yeah. If he would have offered 139, then maybe we would have lost the house, would have lost, what's the house worth today? 500. All right, so if he would have offered 139, it would have got beat out, then he would have lost $340,000 worth of appreciation. Which one do you want? You want the $2,000 discount, or you want the $340,000 upside? Like, you gotta see through the trees.
That's the other thing, Jeff, I looked at too, as I said, it's $20 a month. 15, you run the monthly payment more.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a lot, that's right. Right. So you're right.
Yeah. Stories. So powerful.
And let me reiterate one other thing that I think is particular to you, even though I don't even know you, but the fact that we were talking and then you already had the knowledge to pull up statistics and data on your own, look at that list to sell price ratio. Trust me, out around the country. Okay, that's rare. So when you can take all these stories, because this is all great information, but I've also found it to be very typical of a high producing agent. High producing agents are really good at connecting. They're great connectors. They're really good at retelling stories. But back to that consumer mentality hat on, a lot of our consumers go, yeah, that's great and awesome. And I think I trust you, but you're also a smooth talker. I would tell you one of the top three things of my career is what we just walked through. It's my ability to say all that, then pull up this and back it. And the fact that you already know how to do that, start using it a little bit more and you'll find it to be very powerful.
Yeah, I appreciate all the input. I think what it's also helping, this is one particular client, he already owns a house.
Yeah.
So now they're looking for their build up house, and it doesn't matter what the price is. He just always wants to offer lower, but what it's really teaching me is to have those deeper conversations about expectations. And even earlier on, even though it's already bought with me.
Yeah.
Is let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What does price mean? What are we gonna offer? Just really
Yeah.
push through that so that it's not like It's a numbers game.
We have a silly water cooler saying, back at the office, and it's called Burning One. And an agent of mine will walk in, how did it go over the weekend and these offers and this client? And they'll be like, nah, it burnt one. And I'm like, good. Jocko Williams said, good, like, good, they burnt one. Let them burn one. And that they fell in love with, and you told them all this stuff, and you used powerful information, and they still did what they want to do. Because there becomes a point with the client that you gotta go. I represent an executive at Adobe. She's bought multiple luxury properties with me. And I was just trying to help her assistant over the weekend. And she did what she typically does. And I'm like, Jen, your logic doesn't apply for a $350,000 house in Ogden compared to the $4 million place we sold you in Park City. Like, we can't offer that much less. And I was using everything I know how to do. And still yet at the end, she's like, I want to offer $290 with $9,000 in closing costs and $350.
You did get.
And we didn't. But I was like, all right, even me, I was like, let her burn one, maybe two, maybe five. But you get to that point, and then it's like, all right, there comes a point where you don't want to like tick off the client, right? So give them that info and then let them.
Conversation.
Hey, guys, we're over time, so give you guys a big hand. Thank you. We've cut Josh loose. There is some lunch out here. If you have any more questions, we'll pick around and visit as long as we can. Give us some to be, but thank you guys. It's awesome. Thanks for sticking with us. Yeah, Zoomers, Zoomies.
All right, I need this because I'm signing up. Is this you? Nope, that's not me. Jordy? This is. I mean,
It's still on the back.
I got a maintenance guy, and this is cheaper than bringing my maintenance guy.
You must do business around the country because you kept saying escrow.
Yeah.
We just, no, we're new relationship.
Oh, I've been here for 8 years, but it just took me a while to like, how do you say we're in? So we can say we're in escrow now, but that whole navigating. Now it's second nature.